We get deeper. Jamie Ellison, Barber, staff writer of the Washington Free Beacon. Good morning to you. What's the defense for this decision?
Well, you have a lot of people from the administration as well as senators saying it's not so much that we're giving an exemption or we're not actually extending the deadline. We're just kind of giving an exemption for a certain amount of people who have had hardships that were beyond their control. And they can point to the individual mandate and say, we already give hardship exemptions for people who have the individual mandate, so we're just applying that here. And that's an argument that you have the spokesperson of CMS saying, as well as Senator Chris Murphy made it on the floor yesterday, where they both said, this is exactly like Election Day. What's happened is the polls have kind of closed, but there were people already in line. So we're saying, hey, you were already here. You can still finish it. But the fact that they have this honor system sort of makes that argument fall apart because they're not actually enforcing where the end of the line is.
There's a certain irony when he extended the tax day on April 15th. You mentioned the honor system. You mentioned voting. Here's Kathleen Sebelius making that defense.
What we did in December, we're doing again, which is to say if you're in line on March 31st at midnight, if you're trying to get through the system and the volume is higher than expected, we want to make sure you actually can complete the process. This is not an extension of open enrollment. It is just saying, like you do on Election Day, if you're in line to vote, we want to make sure you vote. These are people who want health insurance.
Of course it's an extension. I mean, they want to beef up the numbers, right? Just click that box. Mm-hmm. But again, Ellison, you come back to the honor system. Who's paying?
I think there's a mix. I think you're going to have a lot of people being angry about this because they feel unsure and they don't necessarily trust the administration or what they're going to do next because they are constantly putting out these exemptions or delays, and they're clearly political because this is not just for people who had a hardship because they aren't enforcing it. This is essentially the equivalent of a store clerk saying, hey, we're closed, but if you're already inside and shopping, you can finish shopping, and then not locking the doors and going in a back room. They have no way of enforcing who is coming in and who is supposed to be there and who's coming in now after the fact. So I think that hurts them amongst just a general trust issue, but it also sets up a problem for the insurance companies and insurers who they set their premiums months in advance, and they need to look at what the risk pool is and have a sort of general consensus of these are the amount of sick people that we have in it, these are the general amount of people, and here's what we need to do and look at to set our premiums for the next year. So they're going to set their premiums far in advance, and they have a little trouble here.
These insurance companies, their heads got to be spinning. Rich Lowry wrote this on Politico. A core competency of Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius is issuing false assurances that all is well with Obamacare. An administration about-face has left the cabinet official looking like the Baghdad Bob of American health insurance. That goes to credibility. It was only days ago where she said the deadline sticks. The president said last call this past Sunday, and now the change again.
Yeah, they keep saying that March 31st is the date that we're sticking with, and the president has even said we're going to have our enrollment numbers by March 31st. There would be no reason to extend it, and then they're going back on that. And I think there are legitimate reasons to perhaps give some people a bit of an extension because they did have a disastrous rollout with the website. So I think there could be a good argument to say we're going to actually allow some people to enroll because they couldn't even get in the system. But at this point, it's kind of, you did have a delay back in December. They're still doing it more and more, and then they're not actually enforcing it to make sure that this is actually benefiting the people that they claim it will. It's just sort of a free-for-all at this point, and I think that hurts them across the board because people don't trust what they're doing with this law, and no one knows what to expect. Just weeks ago, they were saying March 31st is going to stick, and it hasn't.
Big credibility issue. Ellison, thank you. Baghdad Bob's still alive and well, by the way. He's living in like United Arab Emirates, having a heck of a time with his family. Thank you. We will speak again. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Jamie.
you bet.